now tuned in to the cold, hard truth. Cayman's #1 hard-hitting live podcast show, where we feature some straightforward conversations on political, social, and celebrity news and all things happening in the Cayman Islands and around the world. This show was created to give the people a voice and a means of being involved and informed without any filters. Sometimes it gets crazy, but we always keep it real. We bring you the tea, piping hot, so grab your favorite beverage and join the conversation via WhatsApp at 324-1612. Email tips@caymanmarlroad.com. Now, here's your host, Sandy Hill, broadcasting live from the beautiful Cayman Islands. Miracle Brokers is back. That's right. We're fully reopened and back to work. Our agents are here to serve you with all of your packing and shipping needs. Need to move? Don't worry. Give us a call today. Collect a package, shipping around the world, or straight to Cayman? You got it. Give us a call on 949-5989. Collection by personalized appointment only, where our dedicated agents are on standby to personally assist you. Don't forget to wear your mask, maintain social distancing, and one person per appointment. Check us out at miraclebrokers.com today.
Okay, good morning, folks. Froggy. That's what I got to start calling myself in the morning. Froggy throat. I have got some piping hot tea. Not only do I have piping hot tea, this one is chamomile, honey, and something else is in it. I try not to add any additional things to my tea if I can. So if I have to add something, just a little tips of honey. But this one already has honey in it, so I'm going to just drink it as is. It's still piping hot. Trust me, it's boiling. Good morning, everyone. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. We got a lot to get through this morning for sure. First thing on the agenda, we need to talk about a storm that looks like it's heading right in our direction, which is crazy, because the last thing we need right now is a hurricane. It's like, we're being tried and tested. That's okay, because we are going to pull through it, and we are going to survive. So what are we looking at? Tropical Storm Gonzalo. What a name. You guys know the whole deal with the naming system for tropical storms, right? So Gonzalo is headed our way. Let's see who's tuned in. Good morning, Joy. Good morning, Tanisha. Buenos dias to Catherine. Cherie. Another Catherine. So we've got two Catherines. Catherine Phillips and Catherine Smalden, both locked in to the morning edition of the Cold Hard Truth. Thank you guys so much. We've got Rosita. Beautiful Rosita says, good morning, Sandra. Hope that you're having a good morning. Well, we are alive and up and at 'em. And what can I tell you? You've got to be thankful for the simplest of things, because there's so many people this morning who didn't wake up, who can't get out of bed without pain in their joints or whatever. I mean, even me have a few aches here and there, but you know, it's pretty good. Oh, someone is saying that they can't see me. Maybe refresh your link up. I know we had a little video issue yesterday, but today everything looks good. So good morning, Aldine. Andrea. Grace is here with her tea. What kind of tea are you drinking, Grace? Debbie, thank you so much, Tracy. Yes, Aldine is already praying, child. There are times when what else can you do? Jake, can you see me now? Congratulations to Jake, by the way. I think we mentioned this in the show before, but Jake got a promotion at PwC. So he is doing well professionally, working hard, and it's paying off. Very well done. He got promoted to, I think it's account supervisor. We did a little write-up on Jake yesterday. So check it out on Cayman Mall Road if you haven't already. I love highlighting good, positive stuff that is happening in the community. I love when young people like Jake gets a promotion, senior associate in the business services group at PwC. That's what's going on for Jake, folks. So big up to Jake. Well done. You know, we have to really make sure that we applaud young people when they're doing good things. We definitely highlight when they're not. I mean, you know, we see the naughty behavior, and so it's kind of hard to ignore that stuff. But I'm all for when they're getting it right and they're doing a good job. Let us all put our hands together and applaud them and congratulate them, pat them on the back. Job well done. And hopefully Jake will continue on that path. Otherwise, he might end up on Mall Road for the wrong reasons. I know Jake doesn't want that. Annie, good morning to you. The beautiful Krista Brown has joined us. Hey, Krista. Good morning, good morning, good morning. What's for breakfast, Krista? I'm eating an apple and having tea and some water. Grace, can you see me now? Debbie, can you see me now? Rosita, everybody can see me? Hello, Wanda. Jackie, Gina. I think you guys can see me now. It's probably just maybe a little refreshing. Cecile, all the way from the UK. May, good morning, May. Marcia, good morning to you too. Yes, have a blessed day in the Lord. Thank you so much. Grace is having peppermint tea. Very nice. Everybody, please. Yes, Eldine, congratulations to Jake. Diana joining us on YouTube. We got a few people over there on the YouTube live stream. Catherine, her parents are celebrating their 66th anniversary on August the 7th. I tell you, August is going to be a month of a lot of celebrations. We got all kind of parties. My daughter's birthday is the 9th. My birthday is the 18th. There's a lot of people born in August. So I know some of you probably have August birthdays that you need to tell me about. And Catherine, 66 years is a long time. That's fantastic. That's way older than me. So yes, I would love to get in contact with them. Private message me their details. Don't forget, folks, it's relatively easy to find me. I always am amused when people say, well, I don't know how to get in contact with her. The WhatsApp number is 324-1612. We broadcast it all over the place. And I get your questions and comments all the time. If you want to email something through, it's tips@caymanmallroad.com. Rest assured that anything you send us, you remain anonymous unless you don't care. But that's kind of our rule of thumb. We do not, sorry, I need to get my handy wipes here. We do not divulge your information. And we do get a lot of tips and a lot of questions and stuff. We're going to talk about fidelity a little bit here as well this morning. Orville Says, I'm looking bashy. Mess with you, Orville. All I did this morning is such a simple thing. I'm telling you, a little bit of lipstick. And this morning, I actually did put on some mascara, and that's it. Doesn't take much, I guess, to look bashy in this day and age. Thank you guys so much. Oh, yes, I did brush the hair to one side. A little change, right? Instead of brushing it back. Debbie. Oh, your daughter shares a birthday with me. Aw, that's nice. She must have a strong personality, child. Listen, having an August baby in the family, I feel sorry for you all because I have the exact same situation in my household. So, and I know myself, right? Craziness. Let's take a look at Tropical Storm. Diana says her son's birthday is August the 5th, and her sister is the 15th. Sam agrees that a little bit of lipstick goes a long way. Yes, I agree. I think for me too, mascara really does change because I've got such big eyes. Like I've got those. I know why people say like you look like a frog because I do have really big bulging eyes. And I get those from my dad. So I love my big bulging eyes. I don't care what anybody says. They are inherited from my father. And I am proud to have those eyes. And if you knew my dad, Uric Solomon, you know exactly what I was talking about because he had the same big eyes. So I think the mascara kind of helps with the big eyes a little bit. Listen, if you're big and beautiful, you got big eyes, you got big lips, whatever it is, do you, celebrate you, and love every minute of it. Thunderstorm Gonzalo. Looks like he is going to be a pain in our rear end. So this is our 6 a.m. update on Gonzalo. And everybody's going to be watching him here in the Cayman Islands because it appears that he is heading right for us in terms of that quadrant there. So we talked about yesterday a little bit the need to be prepared, you know? Preparedness is everything. This is hurricane season. And so at the end of the day, we can expect the worst, be prepared for the worst, and hopefully it won't come, but you guys know how this is. There are no guarantees in terms of what will happen and what will not happen. So Gonzalo is a named storm now. It is expected to become a hurricane later on today. No bueno. Everyone is watching. Gonzalo would be the season's first hurricane. So I think we've had a few other storms. I think we may have even had some named storms, but Gonzalo will be the season's first named hurricane. There's also a tropical depression forming in the Gulf of Mexico. So listen, everybody's like, irks. It's July 23rd. Hurricane high season is starting to head our way. The most active part of the hurricane season is actually weeks away. So it's gearing up basically. Remember when we talked about a few weeks ago that the experts had updated their predictions? Well, here we are. First storm. It formed on Wednesday. You kind of feel like it came out of nowhere, right? But these are the ones you always have to watch. I'm telling you, any storm that bloop, it's on the radar. You're like, where did this come out from? Today's only Thursday. Yeah, this thing only formed yesterday. And it's quickly becoming a hurricane. To become a hurricane, I mean, formed yesterday, become a hurricane today. That's like 24 plus hours. It is developing very, very quickly. The other tropical depression, in the Gulf of Mexico, that's expected to strengthen to a tropical storm by Friday, according to the National Hurricane Center. So already there is a hurricane watch issued for Barbados. So imagine poor little Caribbean countries, right? We're already getting licked by Corona and COVID outbreak, impacting our tourism industry. And remember, some of these countries came out and relies on about 30% of our GDP from tourism. Some of these other Caribbean nations, it's like 60% or more. So tourism is their everything. And then to have to deal with a storm on top of that, it's just like, my gosh, what next? So Barbados, hurricane watch has been issued for them. They're only expecting this to be a category 1 because of, I think, how quickly it developed, like almost, it's pretty close to us. So I guess that's good. At 5 a.m., we've got a 5 a.m. update that you see here on the screen. Our local authorities have posted this. So Gonzalo had sustained winds of 65 miles per hour. And it was 970 miles east of the southern Windward Islands. So it's tracking pretty quickly. In terms of its projected path, it's going to pass very close to, it looks like it's actually going to be closer to Grenada than Barbados, but it's like they're still in that cone right now. Trinidad is off the coast. I'm looking at a map here. And then it goes out into a little bit more open waters. So you know what that means, the possibility of that. So if it gets to us, it wouldn't be here until next week. So here's the thing. You got time to prepare. That's the beauty about hurricanes, right? There should be no excuse whatsoever for not preparing for a hurricane. Because we know they're coming. We now have, this isn't the 1900s or 1665 where a storm just showed up and you're like, oh, the earth is falling in, the sky is falling in, the earth is ending. I can only imagine back then what people thought was going on when these natural things happened, because they had no way of predicting them. Now we know. We got satellite maps. We've got hurricane hunters. We have planes that we send into the heart of the hurricane. So there's absolutely no excuse for us not to be prepared. Maximum sustained wind, 65 miles per hour. They get into all of these details of the pressure, latitude, longitude. All you need to know is we are in the projected path and probably another week or so. Louis, thank you so much for tuning in. Hope that you're doing well. Marcia says it does not matter if your eyes are big or small. You're still beautiful and wonderfully made by God. Thank you so much, Marcia. Debbie has some questions about travel time. I will do that. I should write it down. Let me just make a note on the computer. Some questions about travel time. Yes, let me see who I can get a hold of. I don't know who's in charge of travel time right now, but we will ask some questions. And if you have specific questions when you say how it really works, let me know what the situation is. Are you a Caymanian that's stuck in Miami or overseas or whatever, and you're trying to get back home? Send some details. Carol says, I keep trying to tell my friend she needs to get stuff, as she literally has nothing, not even one torch. And she just says she will at the time. Enjoy those cues then. Why won't people listen? Carol, that is the $1 million question. And if I had the answer to that, I'd probably be a millionaire. Why won't people listen? Human nature, a little bit of stubbornness, unfortunately. I don't know if your friend has ever been through a hurricane before, but we also have a propensity to think, oh, it's not really going to come here, because every storm we say that's headed for us at the last minute veers off. It doesn't exactly impact us. Don't worry about it. Remember, we used to say that before Hurricane Ivan too. There were people going into Hurricane Ivan who did not believe at all that Hurricane Ivan was going to touch us. I mean, here we had this massive storm, massive this way, massive pressure, everything, massive, massive, massive. And I mean, people are like, nah, that's going to turn at the last minute. Don't worry about it. We're going to just get a little bit of breeze. We'll be having an Ivan party. Well, we had an Ivan party, all right. Ivan came across the Cayman Islands and devastated us. And there were people who came very close to losing their lives. Like, I am always shocked and surprised at how well we did with Ivan. Because had certain little factors been different, you know, when there was landfall, how long, I mean, it hammered us for long enough, but it could have been so much worse. So Carol, if your friend has never been through a hurricane, and maybe she's not been through Ivan, because Ivan now is, how many years ago are we talking about? 15 years ago or over? So there are kids who are born now who don't know anything about what we're talking about. They're like, Hurricane Ivan, what's that? Category 5 storm, what is that? It's always better to be prepared. And you've got to just have your little list and get on it. Yesterday, I was like, house insurance? Check. You know, this is not the time to let anything like that lapse. Make sure your car insurance is paid up. Make sure your house insurance is paid up. Because heaven forbid we get flooding, you know, and you have any kind of damage to your homes or vehicles. Nobody has the spare money right now to be spending on getting anything repaired. So you're going to need, hopefully you're not with Fidelity. That's all I can tell you, because you're up shit creek if you are. This would be a good time to switch right now, like honestly. Catherine says it looks like Haiti's going to catch it again. Yeah, Haiti's in that spot. My God. Oh, I always feel so bad for Haiti. I mean, they're already a poor nation, and then they're like right in that little spot where it seems like every storm just comes rolling right over them. Sad. Marshall says, good morning. Just praying and hoping that it turns before it gets to Cayman. Be prepared, people. Have all of your plans in place. Yes, pray. There's nothing wrong with praying. Pray about it. Put out positive vibes into the universe, whatever. But prepare. There's a saying that God helps those who help themselves. He expects you to use your common sense and to help yourself and to get prepared. Good morning, Fabian. He's hoping that the rains will help to cool the Cayman Trench and act as a bit of a deterrence. Maybe, maybe not. It's just that time of year. And listen, although it's like raining, it's still hot as hell out there. I mean, let's be honest, right? I don't know how much it helps with the water temperature, because it's raining right over us on land. So I don't know what's happening way out in the waters, but I suspect that we may be getting isolated showers right over us, but the rest of the Caribbean, Lower Antilles, and so on, it's probably warm enough to keep this storm going. Good morning, Ivan. Catherine is admitting that she was one of those people, I guess, who thought Hurricane Ivan was not coming our way. Okay, let's see what else we've got. Catherine, how did you fare during Hurricane Ivan? Thank you, Morna, for the compliment on the shirt. This is my CMR shirt. Can you guys see the Mall Road logo? This is like my work uniform. You know, some days I put these on, and I like the color orange. It is a very bright color, and I think it does bring out a good tone, a skin tone. Bonnie, good morning. Good morning, Primrose. Catherine said she fared better than most, which is good. So what are some of the things you should have in your hurricane preparedness kit? So you want battery operated things like lights. They're going to replace candles. I mean, you can have burning candles and stuff like that as well. Your medication, stock up on your meds. So if you're running low on anything, I was telling Grace yesterday, I had to go top up on some blood pressure meds because, you know, if I don't take my meds, sometimes I'm just like, hello. So stock up on your blood pressure meds. Get those done. Any kind of meds, doesn't matter. Make sure you got plentiful supply. You're going to want to do things like bag them up, you know, make sure they're safe from the elements. Check all of your insurance coverage, folks. Like I said, pay those bills now. Don't be making those lots in the name of anything. You got hurricane preparedness lists online that you can make. So you're going to need food staples. If you have pets, please have a plan for your pets. So most of you who have dogs, you will know that not every shelter is dog capable or dog friendly. We don't really have hurricane routes as such because you need to know beforehand if you intend to ride out a storm or if you are going to go to a shelter. And what shelter are you going to? I'm hoping the government will be announcing if all of their shelters are open or if there are any restrictions in place. Remember now, we are going through this whole COVID thing. And at the end of the day, what that means is, how will shelters be set up? Are they going to be set up with social distancing in mind? Does that mean there'll be fewer of those that can actually, a fewer number that can be accommodated? All right, just give me one quick second here. Yeah, I know. All right, so give me one quick second here, folks. I've had an unexpected. I'm always thinking everybody knows that I'm on air at this time. So when I have an unexpected visitor, I'm just like, where did you come up from? Everybody knows I'm on air. Let me just send him a quick WhatsApp message. I may have to take a little break because I think this guy may need to speak to me. Okay. So, yes, hurricane preparedness. So, organize your important documents. So, make sure that documents are sealed, they're in a secure location. I believe in having documents in the cloud as a backup. Like, yes, you have your physical documents, but we saw what happened with Ivan. Even the best of documents were washed away, the best secured documents, because sometimes the entire safe was washed away or whatever you were saving them in. So that are some of the suggestions in terms of hurricane preparedness. They actually recommend that you have a written plan. Take a photograph of all of your valuables. I don't know how many of you have ever done that, but I think after Ivan, a lot of people were like, I know I think, this piece of jewelry, this piece of electronic, but if it got washed away, sometimes you can't even remember what you had. So keep your important documents together for quick access. Have a photograph taken of all of your valuables. This is a great time to do that. We've all got these smartphones. So go and take pictures of them. And then if you're backing them up in the cloud, like you've got an iPhone, I guess Android has a cloud version as well. Then even if you lose the phone or something happens to the phone, you've got a backup available of those photos. Google Drive, Dropbox. There's lots of cloud-based storage systems that are completely out of the Cayman Islands that will help you. If you have children, listen, children are already stressed out enough. So sit down in advance of this storm as a family and talk with them about, we've got the storm coming. It may only be a category 1, but we want to be adequately prepared. Cayman has a lot of low-lying areas that one little hour of rain and we're underwater. So talk to your children about those types of things. Carol makes a good point. Fill up your vehicle with gas. Have some cash on hand. That's something I'm going to have to remember because I'm not a cash person. But after these storms, sometimes there's power outages. The systems are down. You can't get to an ATM machine for a variety of different reasons. So definitely have cash available. I think more and more we've recognized that the government is getting their act together with emergency alerts and warnings. We tend to get those by text message. What is your household and family communication plan? That's a good one. Some of you may work in households where one spouse is part of an emergency team. They're a police officer, they're a fire officer. They work for government in key positions. So they're going to have to go to work. And if you work in such a household, prison, all of these government workers, it's like mandatory positions that they are available in case of an emergency. Good morning, Sue. Good morning, Jonathan. So when that happens, if you're a household, a mom and dad, and you've got 3 kids, and one person falls into that category of being an emergency personnel worker, you're down to one parent in a household with 3 kids, and you know how stressful that can be on a regular day, much less during a hurricane. So this is where your communication plan within your family is important. You know, if you were married to a police officer, you know that they're going to be engaged and they're going to be quite busy. They can't be on the phone having long conversations with you during the storm. And everybody worries about their family first and foremost. If they're concerned about their family, I don't know how much help they are to others, but that's what they're supposed to be trained to do. And, you know, as a result of that, you should be extra prepared about the added stress and what that means for you and your family. If you have older kids, like teenagers, even younger kids, like going over the family plan with them, maybe, you know, making them responsible for little small things. Should this happen, this is what you need to do. You know, heaven forbid, if we ever see another Cat 5 in my lifetime, if you've got roofs that have attic space or whatever, this is where you want to utilize those as much as possible. So what else is important? Perishables. If you have special needs persons in your household, which some of us do, that could just mean someone who's elderly. Then please ensure that they understand there's a plan in place and they know what to do as well. Anyone who's handicapped or in a wheelchair, they need extra help. You know, just elderly parents. We have a large elderly population here in the Cayman Islands. I see National Roads Authority actually outside my window right now. So, you know, some of these government authorities and agencies are already out and looking at certain situations, cleaning out your eaves, the gutter area. Hopefully, the NRA is looking at some of these potholes that we have in the neighborhood, trying to get those filled. Trimming and cutting back of trees. So if you've got coconut trees, folks, shake them down. Have somebody come and pick those up. I'm hoping the dump is wide open. Take them to the dump, discard them in a safe way. Hi, Mr. NRA man. He can't see me. Drainage. So a lot of, I remember one of the pains of being in Pasador Place is because that's like in a basin or some sort, that parking lot always floods. And it always surprised me how stratas do not go out and clear out the drain pipes. Clear out your septic tanks. If you've got a septic tank that requires pumping, which some people still have that, I can assure you, you want to do that before next week. Because once the water table rises, areas like Rackley Canal and all these areas that everybody likes living by, except when it's mosquito season and when there's a storm, because that forces the water table up, that pushes the water up for your septic tanks, and that septic, straight up BS, will be all over your lawn and all over the streets. So have it pumped out, call your septic people, and get them on the ball. If you have any special dietary needs, so some of us have special diets, you need to stock up on those things if you require them. You know, you've got freezers, ice. Sometimes you need to keep certain things chilled. Making sure that any devices you have Recharge, all of your wireless battery packs. Make sure that those are fully charged up and ready to go. So in the event that we lose power, you've got those as reserve power for as long as they will last. So we've got a ton of those, the little small ones, and then we have some bigger ones that have some reserve battery power as well that you can actually plug in like a full 3-prong plug. So we'll make sure that those are all charged up in case we need them, right? School-age children, well, they're not in school right now, but again, just even making sure that they have something to do during a storm, because chances are the TV probably won't be able to entertain them. Thankfully here, we don't tend to lose power. I mean, I gotta be honest with you, I'm just thinking back to Hurricane Ivan. CUC didn't cut the power until Ivan was really rocking and rolling. So I think they really wait and hold out as much as possible until it becomes too dangerous to leave the power on, and then they're going to cut it. But sometimes the water lines need to be cut as well, because there's going to be interruptions in the water supply system. So buy extra bottled water, have that on hand for both drinking purposes and non-drinking purposes. Some people have water tanks. I never knew that people in the Cayman Islands had water tanks. Like, I've never actually seen it. And then the other day I was in Windsor Park, just kind of driving around. And I was in an area of Windsor Park. Normally I go through the Smith Road entrance to visit the people that I know in Windsor Park. But this time I went through Smith Road, but I had to go all the way around to the Walkers Road exit. And I actually saw it looked like apartment complexes or something, or at least a home with multiple like rental units. And they actually had water tanks on the roof. And I've never seen that before, because I remember when I went to Jamaica some years ago, and I started to like really drive around like the country and whatever. Like, there's so many homes in Jamaica that have water tanks. I thought, oh, that's unusual, because we don't really have water tanks in the Cayman Islands. And so literally just about a week and a half, 2 weeks ago, I saw some water tanks here. I think that's the first time I've ever noticed water tanks in this country. So we've been getting a little bit of rain, but now is probably the time to check the levels of your water tanks if you rely on those, because normally they're used for just, flushing and bathing and whatever. If you need any sanitation tablets for water to be able to use it in an emergency situation, get all of those things done. There's a whole section of the National Hurricane website that has useful documents for you. So you've got an emergency plan for parents, and literally you can just print this off. This is like a FEMA plan, but hey, we can borrow it from them. Emergency meeting places, indoor, in your neighborhood, outside your neighborhood. So it makes you think about all of these things. There's a reason why they always tell you to put your plans and have your plans in writing. Because at the end of the day, you will definitely wish to have it organized as much as possible. And the beauty of a written plan is that it forces you to actually think about a lot of things. And so they've got these sample written plans online. They've got an emergency plan for kids. They have your emergency plan for families, family communication plan fillable card, your communication plan wallet cards, planning document. Listen, you do not have to recreate or reinvent the wheel. These things are readily available. I'm going to pull this link. Emergency financial first aid kit. What should you have in that? I'm going to share it in the links in the comment section. so that you all have no excuse now as to why you never had a plan. I don't want to hear, well, I don't know how to draft up a plan or any of that stuff. It's already been done for you, folks. It's as simple as that. So by all means, get on it. Louis, Debbie's a little bit late. Ingrid, thank you. Better late than never. Sue's here. Top of the morning to you, Louis. It's tea time in the garden. What tea are you drinking, Louis? I've got tea this morning too. I've got my chamomile, honey, and there's something else in this that I need to look at, but it's pretty good. Did you know if you are a tea connoisseur, which I am not, I don't pretend to be, but we have a lot of teas in our house. We have a whole drawer that's like full of teas, every flavor tea that you can imagine. Peppermint, ginger, peppermint and honey, chamomile infused, this and that. So if you come over to my house and you want tea, I can give you a whole list of options. There's a lot of tea options, right? But do you know that, you've got black tea, green tea, that apparently teas are to be brewed at different temperatures depending on the tea. So most of us just boil the water and throw it in there. And in fact, to optimize, I guess, the flavor and the benefit of the tea, there are temperatures that you're supposed to brew your tea at, the temperature of the water, that you're supposed to leave it, in and how long you're brewing it and stuff like that. Just a side note, I know most of us don't really care about that. Okay, let me see here. So Sue says she's praying this will end up as a tropical storm or maybe a Cat 1, as we lost everything in Ivan. I can't go through that again. Trying not to think about it. Sue, it is predicted to be a Cat 1 by the time it reaches us sometime next week. So what I would suggest to you is don't let it stress you out, but you got to think about it. We need to all be thinking about it. We need to have a plan. Now is the time to prepare. A Cat 1 isn't all that bad, but if you've got structural issues already, leaky roofs, debris in your yard, et cetera, this is the time now when you want to address and take care of all of those things. Lisa wants to know, what about Cayman brack? Because this could be the first time for them. The brack got hit really hard by, oh gosh, help me remember, Paola? No. What was that storm that hit the brack a couple of years back? It was after Ivan. The brack did okay in Ivan. Paloma, I think. I think it was Paloma. And so, I actually, with some rackers, went there after the storm with supplies. And, I think the brack, it's kind of interesting that normally if the brack gets hit really hard, Grand Cayman doesn't. I guess just because of the positioning of the islands. But we were very much in a position to help persons there with supplies. And I tell you what, you always hear this rhetoric that there is a little bit of a divide between Cayman brackers and people here in Grand Cayman, because they're like, oh, Cayman brackers don't identify themselves as part of the Cayman Islands. Well, they do when they need help. And we were more than happy to help them out, because a lot of people here are brackers and we're all interconnected in some way or another. We've either got family members in the brack, friends in the brack, whatever. So people really galvanized and assisted the brack. Now, I am curious to know whether or not your MLAs on the brack have a plan. So this is now where they need to be getting on the airwaves, live streaming and talking to the people here in the Cayman Islands. What's the plan for the brack? What's the plan for Little Cayman? What are your evacuation routes? What are your shelters? I think the one shelter there is the Ashton Ruddy Center. That I think is the biggest sort of building, like public building on the brack. So hopefully the government officials are getting that ready and set up. and so that people can know how many persons can be accommodated there if need be. Lisa, because you guys have the bluff on the BRAC, you do have some degree of protection. But hurricanes go through countries with mountains. Now, if they've got a mountain range, that tends to break it up, which is good, but it's already going to do some damage anyway, flooding and rain and all that sort of stuff. So Tracy says, power goes out when there's no hurricane. Well, yes, sometimes it does. But I must say that during hurricane season and like a time like this now, CUC, I hope, are working on their contingency plan. Their heads of departments are meeting about what they need to do to ensure that power stays on for as long as possible. Make sure their generators are up and running. By the way, if you're lucky enough to have a generator, I don't have one of those, but if you're lucky enough to have a generator, this is the time you want to get it serviced. They run on fuel, right? Yes, they would have to, because obviously you're not going to have electricity. So make sure your generator is fueled up, just like the car. You probably haven't turned it on in a while, so have it service checked, have somebody come out, run it for you, make sure it's good to go. It's not emitting any toxic fumes. So Evelyn says she has seen these water tanks. Jade says water tanks are essential. Yes, I mean, it's the first time that I've ever seen them here. Oh, Annie says that there are black tanks in some yards in Patrick Island as well. And it's good to have one. I think I need to drive around more. I need to be more nosy. People think we're nosy here in Kimamara Road. The truth of the matter is, our viewers are nosy and they provide us with all the information. I don't get out and about and I don't drive around as much as I would like to, but I need to. There's actually a couple stories that I'm working on right now that do require some field work. And speaking of field work, I'm actually going to be working on my own skill sets when it comes to videography and getting out there doing what they call B-roll footage. Like, I'm trying to learn. Jevi has promised to help me out. So I am meeting with Jevi again tomorrow morning. We're going to firm up a little plan here where he's going to give me some lessons, and then I'm going to do some online video lessons and classes and stuff as well, so that when I have my little camera, I can get out there and do some recordings for like news segments and stuff that should be a little bit more engaging and interesting. So if you guys notice me like getting better, hopefully, and improving with my video skills, that's why. I am consciously working on it. I've got a plan of action. I've got a master plan in my head. I'm going to formulate it on paper, and then I'm going to start working on it. I've always had a love for photography. Even as a child, like, I was one of those kids that would beg my parents for cameras. I've always had like a DSLR camera. I've just never really put a whole lot of energy in it. So I love taking pictures, but when you know how to take it off of automatic and you put it in manual mode and you know everything about aperture and depth of field, and I know all the terms, and I know what a lot of them mean. I just haven't had a whole lot of time to practice and do all these manual settings myself. Some of them is about shutter speed and letting a certain amount of light in. Anyway, I'm digressing a little bit. But the point that I'm trying to make is it's on my list of things to start working on here very shortly. And then with that, of course, comes the ability to put it together. So then that's a whole other skill set of learning some editing software, video editing software. So I'm not looking to be an expert. I just want to know a little bit about these things, enough to help myself. Good morning, Larry. Larry is from New York. What part of New York are you in, Larry? I'm curious. Ran out of brown sugar, so it's tea with honey. Awesome. Yes, that was Hurricane Paloma. I remember it. Sue likes some good old tea, strong PJ tips with milk and sugar. You know what? Can I tell you that as a tea drinker, I do not put milk in my tea. I see people do it all the time, and I don't know why. I mean, it's like hot chocolate. I would obviously put milk in hot chocolate. I'm not going to drink hot chocolate with just water or whatever, right? As a matter of fact, the best hot chocolate in the world is made with milk and no water, as far as I'm concerned. And then you get a little frothy at the top. But when it comes to tea, I keep it simple. And I don't put in any milk. Yeah. All right. So that's hurricane preparedness. Like we said, it looks like Gonzalo, is that his name, is heading for us. So please be prepared. Have your plan of action. We will be ready for him because we know he's probably ready for us. Start monitoring Gonzalo. Start monitoring all of the news. Now listen to this. This is interesting. A little bit of news before we move away from our hurricane discussion. Tropical storm Gonzalo marks the earliest, that a storm has received a name starting with the letter G since the US began their naming system in 1953. No bueno. This is not good. That means we've already had A, B, C, D, E, F. That's 6 already. So Gonzalo is number 7. On average, the 7th named storm in a season is around September the 16th. So this is why they were saying, and why they upgraded their predictions recently, that this is going to be a little bit more of an active year. And you know what? The first 6, I don't even remember hearing anything about them. So they were named, I guess they just fizzled away or whatever. So the previous record for the earliest 7th named storm that formed in the Atlantic was on July the 24th, 2005, which was the busiest hurricane season on record. So if 2005 was the busiest hurricane season on record, and storm number 7, which was named Girth, was named on July 24th, here we are, July 23rd, and I think it was named from last night, so technically July 22nd, and Gonzalo already has a name. So think about what that means for the hurricane predictions and activity for this year. So all of the scientific researchers, these hurricane experts, Colorado State University, Philip Klotzbaugh, he's a research scientist, says the tropical Atlantic looks extremely conducive for an active season. So fingers crossed here. He states that while 2020 may beat out 2005 to the 7th named storm, in 2005, they already had 3 hurricanes. And 2 of those were major hurricanes, Dennis and Emily, by July the 21st. So thankfully, 2020 has not yet had a storm that reached hurricane strength. So it's having a lot of storms, busier than the busiest hurricane season in terms of we're up to number 7 already, but they haven't been that bad. They've not actually been hurricanes yet. But it is predicted that Gonzalo will be a hurricane. So it's churning on, folks. It is churning on. All right, let's move along. Good morning, Odette. Larry is in Yonkers, New York, Bronxville, second home of High Rock and Seaview. Very good. Morna says she's a coffee lover, but today she's having an old time cup of Milo. I couldn't tell you the last time I had Milo. It's been years. And even years ago when I would buy Milo, like I don't even think I've bought any in probably 4 or 5 years. I don't know. But even when I buy Milo, you know what I use Milo for? I make a mean banana bread. Ooh, it is so good. And I use Milo in my banana bread to give it that kind of chocolate swirl, to add a little bit of chocolate to the banana bread. And the Milo works well as just like a chocolate powder. And so, because I don't really drink Milo that often, when I do buy it, sometimes it sits here forever and I'll use it in my baking. So, I'm not a Milo drinker. You know, when I grew up with my aunt in the States, she was, I should say, she's passed away now. Obviously a Caribbean woman, but she lived most of her life in the US. So she was very much, she left as a child. I think maybe as a young teen. So she grew up in the States. She lived there. She died in her 80s and she lived there, forever. So when I went to live with her, she was not so much a Milo because there's a lot of things that they couldn't get there, like Caribbean things in Tampa. So once in a while, like a little Caribbean shop might pop up, but it's more like Jamaican things. So sometimes if something was a little bit more like on the Caymanian side, it was hard to get. But we share a lot of the common foods anyway that we eat. So she was an Ovaltine drinker. Now I don't know if you guys know what Ovaltine. I think that might be the brand, but it's kind of like a Milo kind of thing, sort of. And so I grew up drinking a lot of Ovaltine. And as an adult, I don't think I've ever touched Ovaltine. The funny thing is, I think that sometimes when you grow up eating certain things as a child, you just get sick of it. And I don't know, there are just certain things that I ate as a child that I do not touch as an adult. I just don't. It's like grits. She used to make grits for me all the time. And I actually loved her grits. They were tasty. I know a lot of people don't like grits. They're like, ugh, they're tasteless or this or that, whatever. I actually like grits. I think if they're made right, they're very delicious. Grits and eggs, that's like your Southern breakfast. So she had certain ways of cooking that sometimes it was a little bit of Caribbean fusion with Southern cooking as well. So she made grits on a regular basis, and I ate grits growing up as a child. But as an adult, I hardly ever touch grits. It's just not something that I desire to eat. Peanut butter and jelly sandwiches. As a child, I grew up eating PB&J sandwiches. And as an adult, I do not eat peanut butter and jelly sandwiches. And there's something about a peanut butter and jelly sandwich. Gosh, I haven't had one in so long. I'm trying to think why I don't really eat them, but I don't know. Maybe somebody just needs to make me a really good one. There's a lot of things I think about. I'm like, I don't eat that. And Milo, sometimes she'd make Milo, but Milo, I've never had as an adult a desire to have a cup of Milo. I've never been like, oh, I could go for a hot cup of Milo right now. And Ray, his name is El Ray on Facebook. He actually posted something about this a couple days ago. He's like, how many of you miss dunking your bread and your hot cup of Milo? And I'm like, honestly, I don't think I've ever done that in my entire life. What about not just dunking bread, but a lot of people like to have the is it the condensed milk, like the sweet milk? And they dunk bread in that, like hard dough bread and sweet milk, I think is like a thing in the Caribbean. Maybe I've had it once in my life, but It's just not a thing. Is it so weird how we kind of get used to certain things? And there's certain things that are like nostalgic, like they really remind you of your childhood, certain foods, certain places, certain, it's like they really take you back in time. Even certain songs. Like sometimes I'll be listening to the radio and I hear a throwback song and I'm like, oh my gosh, I remember that song from when I was in high school or when I was like in university, and it like elicits a certain memory. Um, it's kind of like, I'll tell you what song really brings back. I don't know what it is about the song, but it was like one of those songs that it was like a road trip that I did in university, and it was a song that was played so much on the radio. Life is a Highway. Do you guys remember that song? This would have been like the mid 90s, I think, when that song was at the height of its popularity. And I swear, everywhere I went, I heard that song. And for some reason, that song just takes me back to a certain period of my university life and my university experience in Tampa. Kamisha, thank you so much. Says, good morning, Miss Sandy. Keep up the great job that you're doing. I appreciate that. Tracy says that she can relate. She says, that was my drink back in the day. Ovaltine and bread and peanut butter was my thing. My snack before bed every night. Really? Wow. You know what I used to do for snack time? When I would come home from school in the States, my aunt was a homemaker, so she worked inside of the home. So, of course, I always had breakfast ready in the mornings. I always had, I was either buying lunch at school or I could pack a lunch. Most of the time at schools, I just bought lunch because the school lunches were actually pretty good where I went to school. And then when I got home after 3 o'clock, I would have a little snack and I would get a break between after school and then doing homework, right? So for my snacks, I used to love, I got a sweet tooth, folks. So I would have like cookies and milk. Like that was my thing. And I can't even remember what cookies we used to do, but sometimes my aunt would join me and I would get to sit down and watch a little bit of TV and have my cookies and milk time. Louise says PB and banana sandwich. You have to try it. Sounds interesting. I don't know. Like there's certain combinations that to me are just so weird. But I do know people eat it and they love it. It's like, you know what? But sometimes you just got to try things. You've got to have an adventurous palate. Because when I came to Cayman, the breakfast sandwiches that Miss Carita used to make? Okay, I'm going to do a throwback here. Like you have the sweet jam and jelly. Like I don't put a whole lot of things together sandwiches. So people when they eat, they'll be like, oh yeah, I'm going to put on my egg, my bacon sandwich, but sometimes when you put it together as a sandwich, it tastes so much better than eating it separately or whatever on your plate. So I had a neighbor, the Scotts, they're actually Cayman Brackers, Durbin and Kim works, I think, in the cabinet office. Bullens, she's been a Bullens now for a while. She's married with kids. And I think it was after Ivan? I can't remember. But at one point, her brother was like, listen, you need to try this breakfast sandwich where you put your egg, you do like a jam or jelly, and then a little bit of butter. And he was telling me how to do it. And I was like, I'm going to try that. And I tried it and it really is good. I mean, it's like, And Miss Carita made her version of that on a particular bread and whatever. And man, I tell you, I would love when I was in law school, because we were close to Miss Carita. Well, my first degree, I was in the Tower building where I did the Bachelor's of Law. And then when I did the PPC, they're in that old CMB building that's now being renovated right across from the courthouse. And Miss Carita, remember, she took that little space downstairs. But she used to be on Eastern Avenue before, and sometimes I used to stop in there. But Miss Carita's sandwiches, her breakfast sandwiches were really good. And ironically enough, just this week, someone said, man, I could go for a good Miss Creta sandwich right about now. Good morning, Nikisha. Say what? Morna says we used to just use the sweet milk and Milo together and eat it. Huh? What do you mean eat it? So you didn't drink it? It wasn't a drink? So you would just take like a scoop of Milo, and how do you eat Milo and sweet milk? I'm interested in this one more. Now this one has me captivated. Huh. Louis says no Milo for him. Tea is his drink of choice. However, he thinks that I need to try the banana and peanut butter sandwich. Just do it, he says. Yeah, maybe I overthink these combinations too much. Because when I think about it, I'm just like, oh, that doesn't sound too appetizing. You lick it from a spoon or your hand. Okay. Huh. So, bye. That's my little daughter. I love you. Mwah. She's peeping through the window. Have a good day. Oh, she's so funny. She's so cute. Oh my gosh. She's like my one and only. John Smith says this is why the rate of diabetes and obesity is so high. John is like, yeah, you guys are reminiscing about all these horrible things that you're eating. Shame on you. He's fat shaming us here, folks. You know, John, I'm not going to disagree with you, but I think it's also just part of the Caribbean way of doing certain things. So yes, we can definitely, John, improve our diets and eat more fresh fruits and vegetables and all that good stuff. But there are some things, I think it's a matter of moderation. There's some things that you can do in a very moderate way. I'm hoping nobody eats these things every single day. But yes, clearly the rate of diabetes and other lifestyle diseases in the Cayman Islands and the Caribbean as a whole speaks to the fact that we are probably doing a horrible job of managing our diets. Let us move on, because we've been having a minute here where we are really thinking about food. Larry says Guinness, sweetened milk, and Nutriment. I've never heard of those things combined. Is that a drink? Listen, some of you are into the sandwich thing this morning. Dubreen says, Sandy, morning, happy Thursday. I heard you all talking about sandwiches. Did you ever try toasted bread with peanut butter and tomatoes? No. You have to try it. I've also had love sweet milk on the bread, and that used to be good. So toasted bread, peanut butter, and tomatoes. Toasted bread, peanut butter. Okay. That sounds bizarre and interesting all at the same time. All right, folks, let's take a quick commercial break. And when we come back, we want to talk about, let me see what else we've got on the agenda here. There's a few things. Oh my gosh, the COVID situation, we might just have to leave that till this evening. I don't even know. But that is a hot mess. We need to talk about Fidelity, who still owes people money. I'm getting so annoyed with them right now. So we've got a few more things on the agenda for this morning that I did want to cover. There's a lot of interesting things happening with COVID, but we've got an evening show. So I may leave some of the COVID stuff until this evening because it is getting crazy. It really, really is. There's an orchid show that's coming up. Cayman Airways had some issues yesterday, so we've got a few other topics that we've got to get through this morning. So Louis says, living is treating yourself to pleasures that encourage us to press forward. These are treats, not staples. Good point. And Lisa says, back in the day, we played so much outside with friends that we lost everything back then. So I think Lisa is saying that you burnt it off. But yeah, I mean, listen, it's all about moderation, folks. Good morning, Beverly from Miami. Thank you for tuning in. Moderation, I think, is the key to everything in life. And why not every once in a while do something that reminds you of your childhood, right? My aunt used to make a mean liver and onions. And I hardly, as an adult again, it's hard to find anybody who makes a really good liver and onions. You know, I find that when I go back to the States, there are little places that I can go to, that I can get certain things that then came out in terms of like, you know, someone cooking it for you. It's just not the same, or you just can't get it quite the same. Thanksgiving is my favorite holiday. I love Christmas too, but man, Thanksgiving has some memories, and they're all food memories. That's really what it's about, folks. Cayman reached a milestone yesterday of having conducted over 20,000 PCR tests. And that's the equivalent of what our testing lab would have done, just regular testing capacity, in an entire year. So we have done a year's worth of testing in literally 4 months. So isn't that an amazing feat? So congratulations to the HSA, and their testing lab. They have done a phenomenal job. All right, folks, we will be right back after these brief messages from one of our sponsors, Miracle Brokers. Anything that you need packed or shipped anywhere in the world, Miracle Brokers is your go-to spot for that.
Miracle Brokers is back. That's right. We're fully reopened and back to work. Our agents are here to serve you with all of your packing and shipping needs. Need to move? Don't worry. Give us a call today. Collect a package, shipping around the world, or straight to Cayman? You got it. Give us a call on 949-5989. Collection by personalized appointment only, where our dedicated agents are on standby to personally assist you. Don't forget to wear your mask, maintain social distancing, and one person per appointment. Check us out at miraclebrokers.com today.
All right, folks, welcome back. Thank you guys so much. So yesterday there was a little bit of an issue with Cayman Airways. They had 2 repatriation flights to Jamaica. The first one was supposed to leave at 10 a.m. And we got a phone call at about 1:30 or so to say that the flight had been canceled, because I think maybe initially they thought it was going to be a delay. And then it turned out that the flights never left. So it's too bad. There was some sort of PA system, communication like PA issue, faulty system or something that wasn't working. And that delayed the situation there. So the people were not happy, to say the least. So we heard the ones who were really not happy were actually on the inside, which we didn't go in the airport because, you know, they get kind of funny about us recording in the airport. But what we do know is that the persons outside spoke to us off camera as well. And a lot of them were like, this ain't right. They were actually on the plane. So we did reach out to Cayman Airways for comments and additional information. on what happened. And they informed us that actually this is the official response. Let me tell you what they said. So they said that Cayman Airways 737-300 jet aircraft was scheduled to operate today's repatriation flights, because what they were going to do, it looks like they were going to send the plane 10 a.m. to Jamaica, arrived at 11:05 a.m. Kingston, and then it was going to come back, I guess, empty, and then go back in the afternoon at, no, that wouldn't make sense. Hold on. So it goes in at 11, and I think it was coming back to take another flight later on in the afternoon. So yes, the second flight I think was leaving at like 2 something in the afternoon. So both of those flights unfortunately got canceled, and they have said that the aircraft was having some issues that they hadn't anticipated, and so basically, the flight was canceled. And it was said to be a radio communication systems issue, a problem with one of its radio communication systems just prior to the boarding of the flight, which people said they were on the plane. So I don't know why people say that if they weren't actually on the plane. Unfortunately, other aircrafts were on scheduled maintenance. So this situation ultimately resulted in the cancellation of the Kingston flights yesterday, which would be rescheduled for today. So hopefully those persons who were scheduled to leave, the thing is, they were repatriation flights. So you know how that is. You got all your shit packed. Some people had a lot of suitcases. I'm sure they had paid all this excess baggage fee. They're trying to box up their life and go back home and ride out this COVID situation. Some people just don't know when they're coming back or if they're coming back or any of those details. So I'm sure this little blip, whatever we want to call it, in the system was just an inconvenience for people. And, sometimes in the moment when that flight is canceled or something happens, we kind of get really, really annoyed at the situation and at the people, the companies, and so on. And honestly, what can you do? Seriously. It is what it is, right? So hopefully they will be off safely this morning. We'll keep you updated if that changes for any reason. Cayman Airways has a record of putting safety first. And I guess a radio communication system might sound like a minor thing to us, but it's probably very important that it works and that they're able to communicate with whomever. So I think the other thing that is interesting is that I don't know if people had already given up their rental properties or whatever, because some people look like they were waiting, hoping somebody would collect them at the airport. So I thought to myself, I hope all these people have a ride and have some place to stay overnight. And if you'd packed up everything intending to take a hour flight to Jamaica, it was a minor inconvenience, I guess. So that's all I've got to say about that. There's really not much more. We were there on location doing a video, in case you care to go on our Facebook page and have a look at that. We did post, I think, a story up on the website as well. So there's some scammers out. I'm going to post something up a little bit later on about that. You need to be very, very careful, folks. If you're receiving an email from someone who you think is your friend that's asking you for money for surgery and other things, do not do it until you have actually spoken to that person yourself, because it seems like some email systems here in the Cayman Islands have actually been compromised, and that is not your friend sending you that message. So we're going to put up the screenshots of that a little bit later on this morning. to make sure that you're all warned about that situation and hopefully no one falls prey to it. So let's talk about Fidelity a little bit. Again, I'm so sick and tired of talking about Fidelity, but they just can't get it together, folks. They continue to struggle. And I have a question. I want to know, I've got Coco here making noise in the background. What do you guys think, Coco? Stop it. What do you guys think should happen with Fidelity? Do you think a protest is going to do anything? Because some people have said, Miss Andy, can you organize a march or a protest? But who are we protesting? Like, who's going to see it? Like, everybody in Cayman knows that Fidelity is horrible in terms of handling this COVID emergency withdrawal fund. So if we do a protest, is that going to really do anything? Maybe, because I guess we could live stream it and it'll go all over the world and people will be like, what the heck is going on with Fidelity? Maybe that might push them to get it together. They claimed they had all these plans. Remember when they were before the Public Accounts Committee? Oh, they were going to hire a PR company to manage all the bad press. I have not seen one single thing that a PR company would have advised them to do that made any sense to me. So they probably lied about that too. They probably haven't hired a PR company at all. What about all of the systems? They said NetClues was building out a new system for them. They were upgrading computer systems. They were doing the most. And that people would be paid out who applied in May would be paid out by the end of June. So they were going to miss the deadline, but they'd be paid out by the end of June. Folks, we are coming up on the end of July in a week. Today's the 23rd. July the 31st is next week, Friday, so a week from tomorrow. And there are people who still have not been paid out their pension money, and they actually applied in the month of May. What gives? So Louis says, I'm a former aircraft mechanic, and to say the least, remember the 737 has had some issues in the past, and communication when you travel at 600 miles per hour is important with the ATC. And I'm guessing that's the airline traffic control or the tower. So yeah, Sharon says they're still not answering the phone or emails. I mean, this is beyond frustrating. What are we going to do? Sharon, do you think some of us, I mean, I don't have any pension with Fidelity that I need to really be concerned about, but this is a bigger issue here. Do you think that we need to go out there with some little picket signs? Pay us our money, pay up now? What do you think should be done? I want to know what your opinions are on this. What's going to get them to pay up? Where's the DLP in all of this? Ugh. I don't know. We emailed the guy there. What's his name? Not Brett Hill, because he clearly doesn't care. The other one who did a video and pretended like he gave a damn. We did email him. And you know what? He's not responded. Not a single word. Don't care, it seems. Ay, ay, ay. Mm-hmm. All right, folks. It's so disappointing. Like, I don't even know. I'm at my wit's end, and I think that this is a situation now where DLP needs to step in and they need to mandate. I mean, they're going to charge them anyway, as well as I think that they should. But I think that they also need to put some fire under them. In addition to that, John says that he's in with a protest, says they don't owe me anything, but I would join. We want our money now. I'll help shouting. Sharon says, yes, let's do it. We have received all sorts of complaints and messages about Fidelity. It is absolutely disgusting. So the last time we sent them a message, was the 15th of the month. So this was last week. And still, that was the second time we sent them a message. And still, no response. Okay, I'll tell you what. I'm going to send one more message. And let's see if they respond to this one or if they do anything. And I guess if they don't, we will have to organize a mini protest by the Fidelity building on West Bay Road or the one in Georgetown. I doubt it matters. Whichever one will have more people see it, I guess. Now, here's the thing. That'll require a little bit of organizing. I'm sure I'm already predicting I'll get arrested. They'll bring additional charges because, they're charging me in relation to, I haven't done a story on this yet, but you guys always get it first here in the Cold Hard Truth. And I've mentioned it before. They're actually charging me. Remember Mike Adams and his family being tormented by the neighbor from hell and their kids? The kids have stoned the home of this elderly couple. Mike and his wife, Lisa, have been upstanding members of this community forever. And these Johnny come latelys, they're like Cayman versions of Karen, right? They come and they're doing the most to try to run these people out of their homes, including having their children throw rocks at the family home of Mike and Lisa Adams. This is the kind of BS that the Adams family has been putting up with for over 3 years now. So last year, I think it was November, we went and did a protest there. The government has decided to charge me, the DPP's office. Now listen to this bullshit. They're charging me with inciting violence and something else. I can't even remember. I lose track. So we got 2 more cases coming down the pipeline. Now here's the most amazing thing. They can charge me with that, but an on-the-run fugitive that got away from them the other day, who was in a relationship with a minor, with a child, practically living in his house, having sexual relations with her for months, very, very publicly, all over the place. They charged him with everything but that offense. This is where I get pissed off at certain things. I'm all for, if the DPP's office thinks that they have a case, knock yourselves out and do it. But when I see the irregularities and who they decide to charge and what they decide to charge people with, sometimes it really is obvious that they have a prejudicial undertone with which they operate. Yes, Sharon. Yes. Don't worry. More of that story is coming. But this is what they do. They don't care about our little girls being raped and sexually assaulted by these men, because that's what that is. It's completely illegal. A 12 and 13-year-old can't consent to being in a relationship with a 40-something-year-old man. I don't give a shit how you slice it. It's wrong, and nothing is being done about it. And, everybody's setting this child up for failure in life because, oh, well, she's already had another man, or God knows how many men she's been with. That isn't the point. And that's beyond disgusting and disturbing. That would be permitted in a community this small. And everybody knows it. The police must know it too. The DPP's office has to know it, and they don't do a damn thing about it. They're wasting too many resources and money coming after me for straight up foolishness. Nonetheless, back to the point at hand, that will certainly not deter us. If we're going to protest, we're going to protest. If I get arrested and charged again, oh well, so be it. Sharon, I'm going to send one final email to Michael Anderson, who is like the regional person with Fidelity, asking him once more, can you please resolve this? People still have not been paid from me. It's a good thing that Fidelity isn't the country's biggest pension operator, because God knows this would be a real mess. This is ridiculous. All right, so we've sent another email. Will we get a response? Probably not. They simply do not care. If you are with Fidelity, I can tell you, change your pension plan. Go to Silver Thatch. Go to Chamber. Those are two that I would recommend. Sue, that's the $1 million question. Why isn't government doing anything about it? I mean, they've got all these fines and whatever in place. They claim that they're investigating. You know how their investigation takes 5 years later. They're finally deciding that they're going to charge Fidelity. And what good's it going to do then? Who knows? Absolutely crazy. So message me, Sharon, John, anybody else who's interested in being part of a protest situation, message me so that when it's organized, we'll have your contact numbers. So just send a message on, I guess, Facebook or the WhatsApp number on the screen so that we can have your details and get as many people out there as possible who will protest against Fidelity. We'll make up placards and little signs and we'll do it. Thank you, Isadora. Says, Sandy, thank you for caring for children no matter what. I mean, so much of what goes on here with, men taking advantage of, and maybe even some women taking advantage of underage children sexually is beyond disturbing. And there are too many people in this community who are turning a blind eye to this. And I don't like it for 1 second. It's unlawful, it's illegal, it's immoral, it's disgusting. And, we need to continue talking about it and stamping it out from our communities, because there's too many people who turn a blind eye because they're like, oh, well, this has been going on forever and this is our norm. It shouldn't be our norm. And the fact that people actually think that, I think, is especially disturbing. So let's deal with it. You know what I'm saying? John says, Sandy, MLA, trust me. No, John. No. MLAs have to, as I've said before, they have to get votes from people, which means that they have to tell people what they want to hear often and not the cold, hard truth. Here we are about the cold, hard truth, and a lot of people don't like it. So, you got to be popular to get voted in, John. And, at the end of the day, I feel like we can accomplish so much more as a people outside of politics. There are times that we do something on CMR, we post up a story, and immediately it gets a response. Bam. We're working on some stories right now. I'm going to give you guys a little heads up. There's something brewing with the MRCU that you're going to find very, very interesting. We're giving government an opportunity to respond to that. CBC staff are being forced to sign contracts that they're not in agreement with. And right now, some of them are not being paid because they've refused to sign their new contracts since CBC, that's Cayman Border Control, has been put together. So we are also working on that story. That one might drop a little bit later on today. Government always complains that we never give them an opportunity to respond. So we're giving them an opportunity to respond. And once we have a response from them, if they sent to respond, because you know them, oh, give us an opportunity to respond, and then they never do. So we will give them the opportunity within reason. And if they don't respond, then we will post up the story, because it is very interesting how some people during COVID-19, why would government be withholding money from government workers who have mortgages to pay and they have obligations? This is disturbing on more than one level. And it's a tactic. It's a strong arm kind of tactic to get these people to sign contracts that they do not want to sign. So that's another story that we're working on for you guys. So bear with us in terms of getting that information out. Isadora says child abuse has got to stop. People need to stop accepting this. I agree. Unacceptable that it is accepted at all. There is a certain culture here that allows for this to happen. And it goes unreported, unactioned. And even when the authorities know about it, they've taken this girl into custody. There still isn't anything done. Where the hell is the Marsh unit? You know, this is the stuff that honestly pisses me right off. Grace, in case you're listening, I took my medication, so I'm going to just try to keep my cool about this. But this is the stuff that makes me go off, like on a serious note. It's so disturbing. And the impact that it has on our children, especially our young girls, is a lifelong impact. And it ends up ruining these girls and ruining their lives in more ways than we will ever fully appreciate. The psychological impact is horrible. Nikisha says that her husband is ready to protest. Nikisha, please message me his contact details. Listen, if we get 5 people, if we get 25 people, whatever the amount is, we will be sending a message to an organization like Fidelity that this behavior is unacceptable. And I dare say that that is the exact message that they need. So message me. We're going to give them one final. And when I say one final, I will not be emailing Fidelity again. We'll give them one final opportunity to respond, which I have no hopes. I'm not holding my breath for 1 second that they will do so. But let us see. They claim they have an HR or PR company on hire. This must be the world's worst PR company, because if they're advising Fidelity to respond or not respond and do the things that they're doing, they're not getting any kind of good public relations out of this, my friend. John says, let's go in a white t-shirt. What's the significance of the white t-shirt? What am I missing here? Oh, got it. Thank you, John, for clarifying that. Yes, it's always a peaceful protest, my friend. We're all about being as peaceful as we can be. Although sometimes I wonder if that's really getting us anywhere. Like, I kind of feel like maybe we need to do a bit more to get their attention. In the US, nobody paid attention until shit started to not be peaceful. Karina says, would you send me the number so that we can message you to protest, please? Okay, so it's scrolling on the screen. Hopefully you guys can see that. 324-1612, that is what's up. You can also email tips@caymanmallroad.com, or you can just message through the Facebook page. But yes, Karina, if you want to send us a WhatsApp message, please do so. Let's get every single person who's not been paid by Fidelity, who wasn't paid on time, who didn't get an email on time, who's still waiting for their money. Gosh, there might not be enough room on West Bay Road for all of those people, but let's get it together. Let's organize something, folks. Enough is enough. Enough is enough. I mean, seriously. All right, what else did we need to touch on briefly this morning? Summer camps in Florida are shutting down. Mandatory shutdown because of the coronavirus outbreak. I don't know why they opened to begin with, but there you go. The teachers union in the state of Florida is suing the governor over the fact that the government is trying to force schools to reopen, and they are saying that that is wrong. So they have now filed a lawsuit. The Trump administration has announced a nearly $2 billion contract with Pfizer and a German partner to make about 100 million doses of a vaccine. Listen to this next level of crazy, that has not even been approved yet. But he's just given them 1.95 billion, billion billion dollars to produce this vaccine by year end. It hasn't been tested, like nothing. So they want 600 million doses of an untested vaccine. That's how crazy the Trump administration is, folks. We'll see how well that pans out. John, when and where? Speak about Gonzalo. Yes, we already spoke about Gonzalo, John. So I think the when will be largely impacted by Gonzalo. So we need to keep an eye on that storm. It's headed our way, so we can't have a protest, obviously, when a hurricane, even a Cat 1, is heading our way. People need to be at home with their families. It would have been nice to have had their pension money before a hurricane, but we'll firm up the dates based on what that storm is doing. So we've got to work around Gonzalo. Obviously, Gonzalo is not going to work around us, folks. Mother Nature does what she's going to do. Okay, so I've just received confirmation. What's up? 3 people confirmed that they want to join in on the protest. So there we go, folks. We already got more than 5 people. So John, let me know. Good morning, Christine. Anybody else? Nikisha? Anybody else? Listen, you don't even have to be a Fidelity customer to join in the protest. This is a matter of principle. If you believe what Fidelity is doing is wrong, then let's get on it. Right? All right. The details of when I will firm up. So so this is an interesting bit of story here about the Pfizer getting this contract from President Trump. So two pharmaceutical companies have announced a nearly $2 billion contract for 600 million doses of a vaccine, 100 million to be produced by the beginning of the year. Now listen, I know that we are all desperate for a vaccine. And I can tell you that without a doubt, we would like one, although I'm now hearing that, listen, we've got another confirmed 3 people, so that's 6 people that are in for the protest. Thank you very much, guys. I'm receiving your WhatsApp messages. Thank you. Good, good. As a country, we got to start speaking up here, folks. So I know we're all desperate for a vaccine. I don't know how much it will help in the end, because this thing is going to it's going to continue to spread. Over 6 million cases. It's just gone crazy, right? But at the end of the day, we got to do it right. Like vaccines, or listen, you're injecting people with something. So you can't just rush the process. A vaccine has the potential, depending on what's in it, to cause harm and to do things to people. The Chinese have been accused in yesterday's news of having their spies trying to infiltrate different systems and break in and hack different networks of pharmaceutical companies in the US and Europe and around the world to try to be the first ones to get their hands on vaccines. Like they're trying to steal, all the research information and vaccine details, what's in it, and so on. And so that's what's being accused. The Americans are accusing the Chinese of doing that. So we know that the Europeans, especially in Germany, have been working very, very hard to find a vaccine as well. Listen, whoever finds a vaccine as a company is going to be rich, not because the people are going to pay for it, because a lot of these companies have said, listen, they're going to make the vaccine available at cost or maybe even free. But governments like President Trump, remember how he was trying to poach the German scientists to go and work for the Americans because he wants it to be distributed there first? So, the companies that whoever makes this eventually, if they do find it, there's one German company called CureVac that has been working really, really hard at this as well. They're going to make money from governments because governments will pay for this because this is devastating economies. People are dying in Florida. There are no available beds. So every single ICU bed in Florida is packed to capacity. All 49, I think there's like 49 hospitals or something that have all said they have no room. So governments will pay billions of dollars. A European-led fundraising effort in May has led to $8 billion in pledges from governments around the world, philanthropists and leaders for coronavirus research. China has tried to militarize their efforts. So they claim that their Sinopharm group announced in June that they're beginning phase 3 trials in the United Arab Emirates. There are people who are stepping forward, even in the US, to volunteer for trials because they feel like, listen, at this rate, this coronavirus is going to take a significant toll on all of our lives. So I might as well sign up to be part of a trial, even if the trial kills me. Well, it might end up saving somebody else's life. So clinical trials are very, very important. I don't think this process should be rushed. The Food and Drug Administration does have an emergency approval process, but the safety and efficacy of these trials has to be tantamount to anything else. Because again, you don't want a vaccine that's doing more harm than good, right? So Everton confirms that the Fidelity building is open in West Bay Road, close to Lone Star. Oh yes, we know. They opened it up over a week ago. I think it's on the 3rd floor. I went there yesterday, but still a long wait to get in. And the question is, why are people having to go in to see the company? Applications have been submitted well over 60 days now. Just pay people their money. Direct deposit or check to collect. It's that simple. Everton, what are they telling you when you get in? Like, what is the issue? Right? All right, folks. We will certainly continue that conversation this evening because there's quite a bit more information about what's happening in terms of COVID-19 and the coronavirus that we will want to keep an eye on. It's a beautiful morning here in the Cayman Islands. I see a few clouds in the sky. They're the nice fluffy ones. A little bit of a breeze. The trees are swaying in the wind. So make your plans. Go to whatever A.L. Thompson's, whatever stores that you need to head out to. And stock up on your supplies. Make your list. Be safe and prepare for what will eventually be Hurricane Gonzalo. No ICU beds available at 49 of Florida's hospitals. We will talk more about that this evening. Today is Thursday, folks. The week is almost over, but on Thursdays we have a morning segment and an evening show. The evening show is only an hour long, but please tune in at 7 o'clock sharp, and we do 7 until 8 o'clock. All right. Also, do not forget that this week we will be doing the picking of the name. So if we get to it tonight, if not, it'll definitely be tomorrow, of our new youth show as well. And a lucky young person will win a value of at least $500 pack prize. So again, folks, if you want to protest, 324-1612, send me an email confirmation, please. We are arranging a protest. We'll have to go through all the official, get the stuff sorted out with the police, and I can do all of that stuff to approve our protest. And we'll ensure that all of that is done properly. Right? Sounds good? All right, Norma, John, Sue, Sharon. Somebody needs to get a gift certificate this morning. Popeyes or Burger King, the choice is yours. So I'm just going to randomly pick some people, but you've got to remember to please message me when I randomly pick you, because a lot of times 2 minutes later I've forgotten who I picked. So Norma, are you in the Cayman Islands? Norma Green? You are the lucky winner of whichever one of your choice, Burger King or Popeyes. You let me know. Gift certificate. I need to get rid of this batch because they expire actually at the end of the month. So Go and get yourself one of those nice chicken sandwiches at Popeyes. Morna, you are going to be chosen as a winner today as well. So please either WhatsApp me 324-1612 or DM me via Facebook to get some instructions on how you can collect that gift certificate. Right? Awesome. So congratulations to both of you. Everton says Fidelity just has poor customer service because I went there to find out that my application is submitted from the early part of June. But what did they tell you about the application? Anything? Any word? Nothing? They are ridiculous. All right, folks, that is it. I'm done for now. God's willing, we'll be back here at 7 o'clock this evening. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. Have a wonderful and blessed day. Work hard, play hard, relax hard, and we'll see you back here at 7 o'clock.
Thank you for tuning in to another edition of The Cold Hard Truth. Make sure to check Facebook for showtimes and more information and the latest news at CaymanMarlRoad.com. Subscribe to our IG and Facebook pages to get the latest happenings. Miracle Brokers is back. That's right. We're fully reopened and back to work. Our agents are here to serve you with all of your packing and shipping needs. Need to move? Don't worry. Give us a call today. Collect a package, shipping around the world, or straight to Cayman? You got it. Give us a call on 949-5989. Collection by personalized appointment only, where our dedicated agents are on standby to personally assist you. Don't forget to wear your mask, maintain social distancing, and one person per appointment. Check us out at miraclebrokers.com today.